with a high of 80. Then Wednesday, partly
80
cloudy,
tomorrow, man.
showers
Yeah.
and thunderstorms.
Gotta love
70,
that.
70 this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Being the first good weekend, everybody's want to get out. And
Oh, yeah.
that'll be
it's
real.
gonna be,
Should be
we have
good.
what we call planned.
And welcome into On the Throttle here, about 5 minutes after high noon. All brought to you by Jason Dietz Customs Collisions Trailer Repair, AJ Door, Fast Forward Motorsports, Suburban Auto here in Bryan, your local Napa dealer here in Bryan, and Bryan Ford Lincoln Mercury. And as always, with me, the one, the only, the infamous, the out of jail. Didn't get in jail. That's good news. Dwayne Hancock.
No, I was close to the prison and they didn't throw me in, so that was good.
that's as close to that prison as you want to get.
That's
to,
right. That's
the
right.
way that it works?
I just told them I knew Jim Funderburg, so it worked out.
They knew you were going to get bailed out in just
Right.
a matter of moments, so they said.
Said
"Nah,
with
it's not
his
worth it."
bankroll, they said with his bankroll, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can't keep you very long, so we don't. We'll just kind of
Right.
catch and release, almost like fishing.
Right, definitely.
Hey, we got a special guest today, Dwayne. Tell everybody who's listening who was with us here today.
I tell you, for all of our loyal listeners, they've heard of him a lot, and now they can hear from him. We have Dan here from Advanced Chassis. Not only does he have the chassis business, but the main reason he's here is this weekend, Paulding County Fair, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he puts on the big horsepower holiday deal. Welcome to On the Throttle, Dan.
Hey, thanks for having me here.
Now, we've been hearing a lot from you. We had Jay Tressel last week, and we've had Greg Temple in, and you guys do a heck of a chassis business for drag racing, tractor pullers, truck pullers, and stuff like that. And, you're local, just right out of Antwerp, right?
Yeah, we've been here for 30 years this year. It's 1988 to 2018, so we've been local. We try to work with the local people as much as we can and, try to keep it around here.
Well, it sounds like you built some pretty mean hot rods.
Oh, we do. We've got a 2,000 horsepower Mustang in there going right now. We've got twin turbocharged new Hemi going in a 72 Roadrunner, little Mustang with a Proline 98 millimeter turbo on it. Yeah, there's lots of horsepower around there.
It sounds like
Yeah,
it.
really. It almost sounds like it's a competition to my Fusion.
That's right. I think maybe you should get a car built up there,
Yeah,
Jim.
my little four-cylinder Fusion right now might give all those things a run, I think. You know what I mean?
Right.
It ain't always the engine, it's the driver. You know how that works. Like, you know what I mean?
And whether the race goes past a gas station or not.
Right, there you go. There you go. And as I learned before we went on air, you sell you fab a lot of stuff, and you'll work on anything, basically any type of car or anything that needs fabbed. And I know drag racing and pulling mini rods and trucks and that are kind of your specialty, but you kind of an all-purpose, all-around deal.
Oh, sure. We have 5 different TIG welders, all of them masters around there, and we spend 98% of our time working on drag cars and tractor pullers and stuff, but we fix mower decks, or we fix a lot of aluminum rims. People break them, the local tire shops bring them, we weld them up, just things like that.
Now, I know you have a website. I think it's advancedchassis.com if anybody wants to get a hold of you. Or,
Absolutely.
we might have somebody like got Jim's payroll, big money burning in their pocket that wants a drag car built.
Send them over.
Yeah, and how would they, best way to get a hold of you for something like that?
Absolutely. If you go on our website, it's got every way to get a hold of us imaginable, from my cell phone to my email. You can always get a hold of us there. You can check us out on Facebook. We have a really good Facebook program that we document our builds on. And you can always stop by the shop. We're always open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday.
All right.
How'd you get started in something like this?
My dad's been a drag racer since the 60s. And in the 80s, the company he worked for kind of went out of business, and he started working on other people's race cars while building one of his own out in our garage. And my mom and I thought it was a cool-looking dune buggy. It was a roadster at the time, didn't have a body on it. And so, one thing led to another. He opened Advanced Chassis, and, like I say, the rest is history. That was 30 years ago.
That's amazing. That's hard to imagine. Now, for anybody that's out there, because there's an awful lot of guys that like to, wrench on their own cars and work on their own cars and everything. Is that primarily how you make your business? Are working for folks helping customize an automobile or build an automobile for them? Is that number one in your line?
Yeah, I mean, what we do mostly, we build complete race cars. We just set an empty body on a jig, and we build everything in between there, including the tin work, and we mount the motors. We do headers. We do turbo plumbing, intercoolers, anything and everything, you know, that goes along with building a race car, we do by hand at our shop.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's hard to imagine that somebody in Northwest Ohio basically could make a living every day doing something like that.
Well, yeah, you know, we keep 12 people employed there full time, and well, some of them are part time, but we do. While we're out in the country, you know, in the middle of nowhere, we're 2 hours away from about 5 major cities also. So while it seems like a bad place, it's really an actual pretty good location for us.
Well, and it's a specialty business. There's just not a lot of people that does this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they shrink every year, you know.
Sure.
You know, with this economy coming back, we've seen a lot of the stuff coming back. We've done 2 brand new Camaros. One of them a ZL1 straight out of the factory with 0 miles. Put a cage in it, and they were putting I don't know, a 1,500 horsepower motor in it or something. You know, we've been doing, you know, those kind of things have started to come back with the economy. Good. You know. Things changed a lot after 2008. Before that time, we were a race car building factory, you know, as fast as we could turn them out, building brand new cars. And when the fallout hit in 2008, you know, we kind of diversified into a lot of other things, mini rod tractor pulling being one of them. We were already in it pretty good, but we went all in on our stuff and designed a bunch of chassis and all bolt together products and everything. They took off. So, you know, now that the economy's back, we're not getting rid of any of those things, so we're just getting busier and busier.
Yeah.
That makes it nice. And there's a lot of that in this area that people don't realize, too. I mean, there's a lot of mini rod pullers, truck pullers, and, you know, a lot of people into drag racing in this region.
Absolutely. I mean, if you really looked around at all the people we have, we are probably one of the most densely populated horsepower-related communities, you know, here in northwestern Ohio that there is anywhere.
Is that due to the craziness of all the people around here, Dan, do you think? Is it the kind of guys like me and Dwayne?
Yeah, I think we're all just so bored from looking at the farmland, we just want to see how fast we can go through it.
That makes a lot of sense.
But that's true. Now, have you ever done anything? We got a lot of circle track people, too. You ever have any repairs or anything? I mean, I know your specialty is drag racing tractor, but I mean, is that something you've ever done or would do?
I have that's one of those every exception has its rule or vice versa. My saying is I only work on things that go straight or are supposed to. And but I do repair some things.
I got
some circle track guys, you know, like say anything steel that needs welded we can fix or replace or bend or whatever we need to do, but that's not something we carry parts for, and we certainly have no expertise in making things turn.
Now, when you get into something like that, I would have to think the torque on that frame at that starting line has got to be something spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, if you ever really, and I'm no mathematician nor am I an engine guy, but if you take say a 3,000 horsepower motor and run it through a torque converter, which is a torque multiplier, and then run that through, say, a 1.8, so double that first gear into a, say, 411 rear end. I mean, you're turning that 3,000 horsepower or 1,200 foot-pounds of torque into like 8,400 foot-pounds of torque, or you know, whatever it is by the time it gets there. How they don't break these things, I have no idea. You know, but things have come such a long ways in the last 20 years that breakage is really uncommon, and 1,200 horse is easy for anybody to get.
Well, it's because they go to the advanced chassis and get their cars built. That's why they don't break.
That's right. That's right.
That's the key right there.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
That's right.
Is it has something to do with that left-hand turn that you don't like? Is that the reason why you go to the circle guys?
Yeah, you know.
Too much stuff gets tore up.
Yes. Yeah, first off, the first person that scratched my race car, I would have to stop at the end of the track and kill him. There's no rubbing his racing here.
That's right. Yeah, if you're rubbing a drag car, there's something going to be wrong.
Yeah, bad things happen.
That's right.
When you're rubbing it in a straight line.
Right.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Amazing. That is amazing.
Now, one thing you've came up with of this business is kind of what we want to promote a lot today. Coming up this weekend at the Paulding County Fairgrounds out in Paulding, Ohio, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is this horsepower of holidays deal that you've came up with. I know you've been doing it for the last few years here, and seems to be growing bigger and bigger each year.
Yeah, I think Mother Nature is finally going to be kind to us this year. She doesn't do it very often, but this looks to be one of them. What we have is we rent out the whole Paulding County Fairgrounds, and we put on a display of horsepower like nobody's ever seen. Friday night we have a full array of truck pullers, with some super high horsepower diesel stuff. Alongside of that, we have a bunch of idiots doing burnout competitions, and ours is a little different than most. We actually hook trucks up to a cable, up to a dozer, put them on a 100-foot long concrete pad, water the whole pad down, and let them go for 45 seconds while the dozer backs up and lets them go into new water all the time. So
there you go.
It's like a dog hanging off a cord out there. It's pretty fun to watch. Then on Saturday, our big draw is the mini rods and the mud drag racers.
Yeah, that's always big.
Many of these mud drag racers, they come from everywhere, from Minnesota to Texas to New York. And these guys in the open class run like a 975 cubic inch EFI with a screw charger and nitrous on top of it for like 4,000 horsepower.
To go for like 4 seconds.
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
We run on a 200-foot track. We have the fastest track in the country. We own almost every record in the MRA books for our tracks. I really got to tip my hat to my track guys. They do an awesome job. But these things here, it's 2 seconds. It's about 108 mile an hour and 200 foot from a standing start on dirt.
Oh my gosh!
It's unbelievable.
You want to drive one this weekekend, Jim? We can find you. We might be able to find you one to ride in, Jim.
I'm just gonna say that's Dwayne Hancock leaving a bar
That's right.
after he's hit on somebody's girlfriend. That's a lot meaner than he is.
Hey, haven't got shot yet, so it must work.
Because he's fast. Because he takes his car to advanced chassis.
That's right.
That is getting it really quick.
Oh, it's amazing, and that's the fastest class, and there's everything down to what we call a super stock racer, which is, it's still looks like a truck, but it's gutted out completely and has about a $50,000 Steve Schmidt motor in it.
There you go.
It's, so even the slowest are really fast in that deal, and then we run qualifying starting at 10 o'clock in the morning for those guys, and we shut them off at about 1 o'clock and start our mini rod program. And if you think those guys are crazy, these guys stick a 3,000 horsepower motor in an 8-foot long frame and then hook it to a 10,000 pound sled and let it rip. They crash these a lot. That's why we like building parts for them.
There you go. That's right. And it's actually a perfect deal to advertise your business, is to get all these guys, put on a big weekend, and I mean that's for the people that don't know about the business, I'm sure they know afterwards.
Yes, sir. We have the same announcers that come to the Bowling Green tractor pulls and do the Bowling Green tractor pulls come and do our events. So we do get a lot of self-promotion, not going to lie there.
Good.
But we also have a lot of sponsors and stuff that come along with us that we like to get their money's worth too.
Now, and I know, I think you wrap it up on Saturday night with Tug a Truck, which I know that's usually pretty popular too.
Oh yeah, and we've kind of changed things around this year because we'd like to be done by about dark this time, and so we are shutting our drag racers off early at 6 o'clock, I believe, to start the Tug a Truck. That way, everybody has time when they're done to come in. We have live bands in our main building every night, and socialize. We put on videos of people riding out on the trails all day and just kind of hang out together and have a good time.
Well, and that's another thing that I didn't really realize until last week, is that you actually have like the side-by-side and the ATV, like a trail ride going on all weekend too, or a path or what?
Yes, sir. We've been fortunate enough around the fairgrounds is towards the edge of town, in our town, and there's a lot of wasteland there. It's all along the Flat Rock Creek. It's just floodland, and this year, the last couple of years, it's been under 6 foot of water. We couldn't do it, but
right.
Our group has been out there for 3 years now, and we've actually cut 5 miles of trails along that river and across the bridge and back behind the reservoir. And I mean, it's really nice. It's not overly challenging because it is Paulding County, but you won't find a straightaway that you can ever hit second gear in.
Right. That's real cool. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. And then Sunday, you got some more mud drags and stuff like that again.
Yeah, Sunday we start 10 a.m. With doing the finals of the mud drags, and then we've come up with a new race called the Russian Roulette Race for everybody that's not still in the other race and any of the locals that want to come race. And what we've done is we've set up all the classes on an index based on the MRA records for each class. So it doesn't matter. There is no breakout. There is no anything. You know, you're just, if you're an open classer running against a super stocker, you're going to get about a 1.5 second head start. You know, if you're a fast super stocker against a slower open guy, you're probably going to win, and vice versa. Opens it up to everybody.
Right.
So as we carry on with that, as soon as we're done, then we go to our actual dirt drags, which is we pack down our dirt track and run our local ATVs, trucks, cars, all that kind of stuff. And at the same time that that's going on, we put a mud bog on in the left side of the infield that has big monster trucks down to barely modified trucks that we have to pull right out.
Ah.
Wow. Sounds like a great
So,
weekend. Yeah, it does. I need to pay some bills, Dwayne. I know you're right in the middle of the conversation, okay?
That's all right.
But you know how it is. You know, we're plugging an awful lot for advanced chassis, which
right.
we love doing. And
that's right.
There's guys that are plugging on this one, too.
I know.
And they're all out there sitting, I want to hear my name, I want to hear my name, I want to hear my name.
That's why you can afford my high salary that I get here.
We've got Dan Bowers with us from Advanced Chassis in Antwerp, Ohio, and we're talking about the horsepower holiday that's coming up this weekend in Paulding. When we come back, we'll talk about what happened around our area and continue our talk about local racing here on the Q 96.5.
Collision & Customs is Northwest Ohio's largest trailer dealer with
customer service is standard. We make the entire process easy. The Brian Ford difference. We don't want to just sell you a vehicle today. We want you to be a customer for life.
Our last on the throttle for the month of April. It's hard to imagine, but hopefully the weatherman's going to finally give us some racing weather
hopefully
around here. How's that, huh?
Hopefully. It sounds like a great weekend coming up this weekend for the horsepower holidays and a bunch of other stuff. Now, Dan, we was talking here, this dirt drags here. You said like any cars and trucks and that can be in that.
Oh yeah,
so a Ford Fusion that owned by Jim Thunderbird could run if he wanted to. I mean,
yes, has to do a couple reverse drops to get staged.
There you go. That'd be better yet.
There might be some people shivering. You think Mr. Trissel was shivering in his britches when he pulled up next to that guy he was talking about in that final race there down in Kentucky the other week.
Right.
Wait till he looked over to his left there or his right, either way, and he saw me in my burgundy 2012 Ford Fusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't need another pair of pants.
You might get like a 12-second head start though if they do this handicap deal.
And might still lose.
Yep, it'd be like a jetliner passing you when you got to the other end.
Exactly.
And now you said you got bands each night. I mean, for people, because that's what this thing is. I mean, it's a huge event. I mean, you got so much stuff going on, and it sounds like, I mean, you know, Jim, he even likes music. I mean, there's a lot of good, like good local bands and stuff. Or it sounds like too.
There's a lot more than just what we've talked about. You know, there's a main street with all kinds of food on it. You know, we have I think 7 different food vendors coming. We have several ATV, UTV dealers coming, bringing new models. We have barns opened up with tire and stuff for sale in them. We also have a monster trucks coming this year, and they're bringing a ride truck. So there's a monster truck with, I don't know, 10 seats in the back of it for $5 you can jump in and take your kids for a monster truck ride. We built a big monster truck track. As we was anticipating getting the mega trucks in, but we haven't quite done that yet. So what we do is we just kind of let this trail or this track open for people to ride their ATVs and UTVs on. And usually by 8 o'clock at night, it's so packed with stock trucks out driving around it if the weather's nice that, you know, it just kind of turns into a cruise loop. Yeah. We also have a mud pit for people to play in out in the campground area. Speaking of which, we have about 120 campsites, electric campsites there. Fortunately or unfortunately, we're just about filled up already. So
that's good. Though.
Yeah, we had to shut off the pre-sale camping because we couldn't get them out fast enough, and so there are still some left. At the gate, and we'll fit people wherever we need to.
Now, what's it cost to get into this event here?
Well, it's Friday night's $10, Saturday is $15, and Sunday is $10. Kids under 12 are free. If you buy a weekend pass pre-sale at Advanced Chassis or Ace Hardware in Paulding, you can get the whole weekend pass for $20.
I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, really, for a whole activity, a whole night's activity, and especially as many events as you have going on. I mean, that's a heck of a deal.
Comes down to about $1 an hour.
Yeah, it's about what Jim gets paid.
Yeah, that would be a raise. In fact. Yeah, I'd take that any day. This has had to evolve, though, Dan. I'd have to think. It sounds like you've done and had great cooperation from the fairground and the folks that run the fair down there too.
Yes, people, and I know people understand it takes a lot of people to do this, but we literally have 100 people that help us and work with us.
I can believe it.
And we have a core group of about 25 to 30 people that come to meetings every Thursday year-round. They go about trying to make their part of it the best that it can be. You know, it's a huge time eater on my part, but, you know, come this weekend when the weather's nice and everybody's having fun, it'll all be worth it.
You bet.
That's cool. That's real cool. I don't know. What are you doing Friday night, Jim? We might get to get BB. We heard food, fun, bands. Get you and BB in the back of a monster truck. I mean,
it touches all the bases, doesn't it?
I know it. I know. This could be a road trip.
Yeah. Bands that you have coming in. I mean, rock bands, country bands. What do you have?
You know. Everything? Friday night we have some acoustic bands coming in, you know, locals that my son's one of them. If you ever get on Facebook, check out Austin Bowers, very talented young man.
Okay, all right.
Drew Munger and his buddy Tony will be playing, both flat top guitars, kind of rock blues, you know, that kind of stuff. And then Saturday, I know that we have the 1947 California Cupcake Factory, which is a really fun couple of guys from up around the Toledo area. They really get the crowd going. We have DJs both nights. You know, our central party center, you know, in the middle of the fairgrounds is pretty much always rocking from 6, 7 o'clock on.
Cool.
Oh, man, it sounds like a great weekend.
It does. Sounds like a real good time. I can see why the camp spots are almost full already.
You can.
Yeah, you really can. I mean,
sure. I mean, it's, you know, and a lot of them are families. They bring their kids down for the weekend, and you know, you can take them trail riding. Not very often you see this many different things in one place and one weekend.
Well, especially for that price.
Sure.
I mean, you know, you go to some of these big events and you're talking $20, $30, $40 to get in. I mean, you can get that in for the whole weekend.
Yeah. All we want to do is, you know, make it good for the community, try to keep our prices low so everybody can come.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
That is a great deal. There's no doubt about that. I'll tell you what, Dan Bowers from Advanced Chassis in Antwerp, and we're talking about the Horsepower Holiday this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down in Paulding at the fairgrounds. And man, it sounds like a whole lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I think we've touched most of the bases right now, Dwayne, but we're going to keep Dan here, and we'll recap before we close everything out. But I think we also have to talk about some of the other things you were doing over the weekend that you were somehow capable of doing and staying out of jail and still reporting for duty here today.
Right. Yeah.
You had a big weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, we promoted a lot. The big Sprint Car World Championship was in Mansfield Speedway this weekend, Friday and Saturday. First time this event has happened, and Cody Summerd. It's cool because there's a lot of politics in motorsports, and there's some people that didn't want this race to happen, and
really?
Different things. Oh yeah, but the drivers, the fans, and that. For as cold as it was, Friday got rain delayed for 3 hours.
Okay.
And any other race, it would have got canceled. But Cody's like, we got people here from all over the United States. 73 cars were sitting in the pits from all over the United States. Couple guys, one guy pulled 17 and a half hours to race there for the weekend. He's like, you guys want to stick it out? I know it's going to be cold. We're going to race. And 10 o'clock, I got started on Friday night before a car hit the track. And so it was a late night Friday night, which kind of messes up the track when you're dealing with dirt track racing for the whole weekend. But they did an excellent job of getting it ready for Saturday then. And it sleeted, it snowed on Saturday afternoon. And usually methanol sprint car engines in sleet and snow and cold weather don't go so well. But they made a vote to keep racing. And I tell you, the fans came out, which was good for an event of this magnitude. There's probably 6,000 to 7,000 people there, and great races. Friday night, Tim Schaefer, which we talked about him dropping off the World Outlaw Tour a couple weeks ago because of their lower budget team. And this is one of the main reasons he's did. Well, qualifying nights, he took one of the A mains, and California's Carson Macedo took the second A main. And then Saturday for the $100,000 win show, the Steel City Outlaw, Tim Schaefer, got her done. Took the $100,000 win. Heck of a race. Aaron Reitzel from Texas. Josh Carpenter, a guy from Dayton, Ohio, is one of his crew guys that I got to know the last couple of years. He actually was on the Boss Tour for a couple of years as a crew chief, and he got on the Reitzel team out of Texas here this February. And Reitzel was fast all weekend, and you couldn't ask for a better finish. 50-lap race. Aaron Reitzel give Schaefer a slide job, made it stick in turn 3 on the last lap, made the pass, only to jump the cushion on turn 4 and brush up against the wall, just enough for Schaefer to beat him by about 10 feet at the finish line.
I'll be darned.
But yeah, it was good. And one of our guests a couple weeks ago, it was high on his target list, Tyler Gunn from Napoleon, Ohio, just down the road. Excellent weekend for Tyler. He got 8th on his qualifying night. These, it wasn't a World Outlaw sanctioned race, but I was talking with some of the drivers there, it was tougher than a World Outlaw show because you had the best Pennsylvania posse drivers there. You had the best from Knoxville, Iowa, the best from Australia. You had the All-Star guys. You had the best Ohio guys. Then you had some wild card guys in there from all over the country, like Aaron Reitzel and Trey Starks and Joey Saldana and guys like that that's not running Outlaws or any tour this year. So Tyler got 8th on his qualifying night, and put her in the big show on Saturday by winning a B main, and then got 13th in the A main.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So they was very pleased, and got a good payday for them. Yeah,
when you get to that point, Dwayne, do you have a feel for a payday for a guy like Tyler? That night?
Yeah,
you probably cover expenses that for sure.
Oh yeah, and he had a little bit of an issue. He was actually blew a tire and had to restart at the tail, and he had a torsion bar go bad too. Track was a little rough in spots, but he still finished up there. But yeah, he probably, I know it paid $2,000 to start, but I think 13th was probably right around $3-4 grand or something. So it was like winning a regular show or more. For him. So yeah, it was a good payday for him. And then Lance DeWeese, everybody's favorite going into the deal from Pennsylvania, he won the non-qualifiers race. He didn't even make the main show.
I'll be darned. Isn't that something?
Well, they had some issues, like I said, with the weather the way it was. Track got they did an excellent job getting the track ready. It was in a lot better shape than 95% of the people there thought it was going to be, but there's still some spot or some big mud. I mean, when it rains that much on Friday night, I know Lance had a mud clod go through his oil cooler, and he had to shut her off so he didn't blow an engine, which DJ Foose, we talk about him a lot with the Jay Kaiser racing team. He went through 2 radiators and a top wing from mud clod. So there's a lot of damage from mud on Friday night, but that's part of the game when it rains like that. And you have but Cody Summer and them did a great job. A lot of the drivers thanked them for doing it, and it was. I mean, I know it sounds like they're going to try to do it yearly at putting out a $200 and some $1,000 purse for a track that seats like 10,000 people is a pretty big risk, and it paid off this weekend. And with the weather being cold, if it had been 70 or 80, I think you wouldn't be able to got a seat in the place. It would have been standing room only.
That, that's something. Dan, you were shaking your head and smiling just a little bit about the weather and all the difficulties you have when you have something like that.
Oh, and anybody that knows us that's come to our events, this is actually our 6th one, but 3 out of the last 4 have had 5 inches of rain each time. One of them had 100-year flooding. It just so happens our fairgrounds is right on the Flat Rock Creek, which is really nice for making trails, and it's a beautiful setting until it rains 5 inches.
All right.
And I've got racers waking up and their toter homes are 2 foot underwater, and yeah, it was not good.
Yeah, not good at all.
Yeah, and that's, if it wouldn't have been any other race weekend, any track would have canceled it. But Cody, he had a nice little speech, which was pretty cool. He says, he talked about Knoxville National starting in the 1960s, the Kings Royal starting in 1983. He says, he goes, I ain't here to replace any of these races. He says, I ain't here to replace any tracks, any legends of the sport. He says, I'm here to make, which the sport needs, another big paying race like this. And He's went out on a limb, and being non-sanctioned kind of makes it. I love that it's non-sanctioned because you get anybody, and that, and I think it's going to be. Sounds like he's already planning things for next year to make it bigger and better. So should be really good, and it's going to put Mansfield on the map. I tell you, there's fans. I've met fans from all over the place. I mean, there's people from California, Florida, Australia, Canada, Minnesota. I mean, I ran into all kind of people, I knew. So met some new ones too, and
that's good.
And and our buddy Dane Miller come up from Georgia. He froze. He was shivering.
He was.
He didn't know why he left 83-degree weather to come up in 34-degree weather, but he ain't real smart. He hangs out with us. So.
That's what it is. So he's got the sharpest blade in the bunch. There's no
right.
doubt about that.
Right.
Hanging
So.
with us. Other races around the area over the weekend.
Yes.
We'll take a break and come back and tease what's going on this weekend. How's that?
Yeah, we did have a few tracks get in. Lima Land kicked off their season Friday night. Jared Horseman took the win there. Used to be NASCAR regular David Stremme took the modified win, and Daniel Sanchez took the stocks. Gas City got their show again and again. Thomas Meserol took the sprint car win. Zeke McKenzie, the modifieds. Randy Lyons won the super streets, and got to give a shout out to Josh Robertson from Defiance, Ohio. Got a strong second place run. I think that's his best career run down there at Gas City. So I know he said he had a good car this year, and the results are starting to prove it there. And DJ Holt won the Thunder cars. Eldora ran their lid lifter for the late models this weekend. Nick Hoffman inherited the win Saturday night after James Jameson won the A main, but you got a scale, and he was 4 pounds light at the scale, so he got DQ'd, and Nick Hoffman took the win there. And my favorite modified driver, the high side tickler, Kyler Strickler, won the modifieds, and Gary Rail won the street stocks. Bearfield and Angola both got their shows in, but to find results from those places is like sometimes trying to, find water in an oasis. So have no idea. We know they raced, and they said they got the races in, but not sure who won or anything. And a couple guys of interest we follow a lot on the show down to Eldora. Hillard Miller, one of our favorite late model guests, got 19th down to Eldora, and our inner circle buddy Ryan Missler made his first ever trip to Eldora, and was running, and fuel started leaking out of his gauge all over him, so he pulled in.
Oh, man.
Which that's when you have fuel leaking on you, that's not a real good sign. So
Yeah, no, that's not a good sign at all.
no, whether you're in a drag car or any car, that's not good.
Yeah, no, that's not good at all. You know, really, and again, around lap 25, you want to smoke, so you pull that cigarette out of your pocket there and light things up. And I mean, light things up.
Right.
Yeah, that's not. Hopefully, things will get better for him as the year goes on.
Yeah, I've never seen a deal like that. He put, of course, on the inner circle deal there. He puts on videos of that. I mean, in the gauge, actually, the fuel gauge actually had fuel in the gauge on the dash. It was filling up, so fuel line somewhere or something got messed up, and
wow. Well, thank goodness nobody got hurt, and he
was
able to.
But he got to run the A main first time ever running Eldora, so that was he made some accomplishments there.
Big step. And I'll tell you what, a big plug for the inner circle too. I got my swag bag last week, and I couldn't believe all the things that were in there.
Yeah.
Still a T-shirt coming. I had a hat in there and a nice little koozie and cup and. Gosh, all kinds of things. A cookie. Had my cookie right away. Never made it to the house. You know how that works.
I tell you, I think that was the first thing everybody they got in those cookies. It's like,
cookies went quickly, and the rest of it's sitting at the house. And if you next year, if you didn't get a chance to be part of the inner circle, man, it's worth the money to sit down on it, because there was probably $100 worth of good.
Oh yeah, for $100 you get your name on a race car and all that stuff. And Ryan, he got a hold of me this weekend about they want to do some testimonials on their YouTube channel and their website, and I gave him one, and I said, it's just you make brand new friends. I mean, there's some of those guys I didn't even know that we've become pretty good friends so far, so it's a neat little deal.
It really is. We're on the throttle. It's 20 minutes till 1 o'clock. We'll step away. When we come back, we'll let you know what's happening this weekend right here on the Q96.5.
Got anything else you need to cover? Or got anything?
Not really.
We'll keep your vehicle trouble-free. Our sales and service staff will always be here for you if you have any questions. At Bryan Ford Lincoln, exceptional customer service is standard. We make the entire process easy. The Bryan Ford difference. We don't want to just sell you a vehicle today. We want you to be a customer for life.
Wrapping up our On the Throttle here today, we've got Dan Bowers with us, and we're talking a little bit about the Paulding County event this weekend, the Horsepower Holiday, which is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the fairgrounds there. Dwayne, before we go back and rehash one last time, why don't we let people know what else is going on around the area as far as the circle racing is concerned?
Yeah, we encourage everybody to go down to Paulding this weekend, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, or all the days. But if you want to do some oval track racing in the area too, Friday night, the USAC Silver Crown Series is at Toledo Speedway, and the fast 410 sprints are over to Attica Raceway Park. Saturday, big show at Fremont Speedway, Fremont, Ohio. Kind of rarity. You have the Boss non-wing sprints, the Fast 410 wing sprints, and then the NRA 360s versus the 305 sprints. So it's all open wheel sprint car show over there Saturday. And then Sunday, after you go to the Horsepower Holidays, you could fit both this in, is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You go to Paulding during the day, then Sunday night I head over to Kokomo Speedway, as they have the non-wing sprints and the midgets Sunday night over there. So full weekend of racing around here. And, Paulding's got this deal, and we just talked about it here. We're going to give away some tickets, too, to our listeners. So we're going to kind of do our standard deal. We're going to come up with a trivia question after today's show. So check our Facebook page, On the Throttle Facebook page, and we'll get a link up there to add Advanced Chassis Facebook page, too. And we'll have a trivia question and give away some tickets today. Then it sounds like we're going to give away some Wednesday, too, to some loyal listeners. So make sure you get on our Facebook page, and we got to thank Dan for that.
Oh, thank you guys. Glad you had me on.
Yeah, no. Dan, one more time, give us all the details for the racing for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if somebody missed the first part of the program.
Okay, so Friday we start our show at 7 o'clock. You can get in at noon. We bring campers in Thursday and Friday. We try to get them in before the racers get there if we can. Friday night we've got a full truck pull, from stockers all the way up to the outlaw diesels. We have a burnout competition, as we talked about before, with four-wheel drive trucks hanging off a cable doing burnouts. Saturday morning we start with the mud dragsters, mud racing, qualifying at 10. Our mini rod program starts at 1 o'clock. Our eliminations for the mud dragsters start at 4 o'clock, sorry. And then the tug of truck starts at 6 p.m. on Saturday. After that, we have bands going on in our entertainment building. Sunday morning, we start with the finals of the mud racing. Go to our Russian roulette race in the mud drags. We also have mud bogs that start at 1 o'clock and dirt drags, on hard pack timing system, the whole bit. So that's all we do there. Oh, yeah, and we have 5 miles of trails that we ride all day, every day. So
yeah, and I mean, this is a huge event, and if you didn't hear before, they had a big food row, vendors selling merchandise, ATV dealers there, live music, monster truck rides. I know you got a kids pedal pole, I believe, going on.
That's one thing I forgot to mention. But yeah, Saturday morning we have a kids pedal pole too.
Yep, a scavenger hunt, just all kind of neat things going on, and it's cheap. $10 for Friday, 15 Saturday, and I think 10 on Sunday. I mean, that's a hell of a deal.
Yeah. Well, you can save yourself another 15 by buying a weekend pass for $20. It's almost half price.
Yeah, and it's kid friendly, so it's going to be a nice weekend. So get somewhere, Paulding or a race. We do the show to support all the locals, and man, I thank you for putting on an event like this at Paulding. I mean, our area needs more stuff like this, and I know it's a big undertaking. Like you said, you do weekly meetings throughout the whole year. I mean, people don't understand what magnitude it takes to put on an event like this.
It really does, and I can't thank those people enough, and I certainly don't have the time to sit and name them all, but if you come to our show, you'll see them. They're wearing orange shirts and they're working their butts off.
That's normally the way that it works.
Yep.
Is there a website, Dan, that somebody can go up and look at as well? Have we mentioned that at all for the event this weekend?
Yeah, you can check us out at www.horsepowerholiday.com or check us out on Facebook. We update that all the time. Weather looks great. A little bit of rain on Thursday and Friday morning just to keep the dust down. And for once, I think we're going to get the whole show in on time all weekend.
That sounds
great.
Of fun, man. It does sound like a lot of fun.
It does.
Well, that'll do it for us here today. Dwayne, where are you heading this weekend? Any feel for that right now?
Well, I'm definitely heading down to Paulding. I think Friday night and maybe Sunday, or maybe both.
You're going to be out. You're going to be racing all weekend, though. So
Saturday, I'll be at Fremont. Daughter graduates from Tiffin University with her master's degree Saturday afternoon. So we got a little thing going on at Fremont Speedway that night afterwards. So, and plus the 2 cars I sponsor, Chad Wilson and DJ Foose, will both be running, and our local 360 driver Kyle Sauter from Archibald will be there racing too. So we've got a family family night at the races that night, but the rest of the weekend I'll probably be in Paulding.
That sounds like fun. Dan, hey, thanks for joining us today. Best of luck this weekend. Sounds like a fun event.
Thank you. I hope to see everybody out there. Appreciate you having me on.
That'll do it today for On the Throttle. We do it every week right at this same time, right after the noon news, right here on the Q, 96.5 FM. Back into classic hits. How about a little Rolling Stones to get us towards 1 o'clock and out the door on the Dome for a Monday.
Thank you.